Hello, with the ratification of the Lisbon Treaty, we are now in a situation where the EU has progressed forward. The Irish had their referendum on it and became uh, fully integrated into Europe now. What is the Lisbon Treaty and why is it so profound for the progress of the EU? Now, for a long time, I was anti-EU, and that's because I didn't really understand it, to be honest. Um, there's so little information about it. Now, um, this also came from my very pro-American stance as well. Uh, if you want to find out more about the EU, you can read Understanding the European Union, a concise introduction by John McCormick. Now, I've always been a fan of Swedish social democracy, and that's because, and also of Switzerland, because Switzerland is also a very libertarian country, although those two things are from different political perspectives. Um, they're the the Swiss, for instance, make a lot of petitions to their government, and part of the Lisbon Treaty is that if you get enough petitions, for instance, say you don't like bankers getting lots of bonuses, for instance, which has been in the news recently, or you want to allow more immigration or less immigration, you can make a there's because we're part of the EU through the Lisbon Treaty, um, and which then is part of the law of the EU, which goes right back to Maastricht and then beyond into the past. We can now make petitions to the EU Commission, which will also have a president and it will have a foreign minister, and this will be good for the EU as an international player. Um, for instance, there's a lot of troops from the European Union in Afghanistan, but they're not European Union troops. They're the troops of the different nations there. For instance, the British Army might ask why it's not got a lot of heavy armour in Afghanistan, and our government says it's part of the because of the terrain. We could make a petition for them to get more troops, more equipment to the troops, and also we get more help from the other EU countries. For instance, in international relations, we've got a big problem with Somalia and piracy, and that this is affecting shipping. For instance, last week the Somalis took 50,000 tons of wheat from a Ukrainian ship. Now, Ukraine wants to be part of the EU. Eventually, they'll want to have our protection. Also, there are a range of civil rights and human rights which are not recognised within Britain, and particularly also not even the recognition of the English as a national group. That's one of the things that jars with people on their census forms. You could have a petition to have that in the EU. The range of civil rights is extended, and the range of economic rights is extended. You can't now be forced to work certain hours, for instance. These are all things that are stemming from the EU, and I think they're good because they allow more flexible working hours, which will make the economy more flexible, and then you'll get more people able to work because they can work those certain hours. They can work around their children being born and the care of their children. Now the EU has this sort of drive of social democracy through it. It's law, but of course a lot of the governments are conservative. You'd be surprised to see that Angela Merkel, who's also been tipped for being an EU president after she's left the role of Chancellor in Germany, and also of course Tony Blair has been hasn't put his name forward, but other people put his name forward as president of the EU. This will be a major figure in the world, or it could be. It depends what the Benelux countries say. That's Belgium, Luxembourg, and the other smaller countries in the EU, because they'll want to have maybe a less major figure for the presidency of the EU to defend the smaller country's sovereignty within the EU itself. Because like the United States, the EU started off as a tariff bloc. A tariff is a tax on imports, and that's sort of in a sense protectionist, but it's also moving towards reducing those tariffs to get more free trade between us and the United States. Why is the EU presidency going to be? What is the reason for it being a major force in the world? Well, the EU is the biggest economy in the world. You can say that America is because it's one single country, it's one federated republic. But it seems that the widening and deepening, this is a phrase often used with the EU, it's the widening of the borders of the EU, widening of civil rights, of economic rights, of human rights, and they're also a deepening because of more integration. For instance, when I crossed over the border from France to Germany on holiday, there was almost no sign other than a few German cop cars being there. Also, you can also go back in history and say, where did the English people come from? And that was Scandinavia and Germany. English is a Germanic or language, or German is a English-like language, you can say. And what will be the great unifying language of Europe? It will be English or German, because those are the two widest spoken languages. And within Germany, English is a second language. Now, why is it that nationalist parties seem to be anti-EU? Well, this doesn't seem to make any sense to me, because surely if you were a German nationalist, you would want the best welfare for your people, and the best welfare for your people seems to me at the moment anyway to be within the EU. And for somebody who's an English nationalist, your main problem would obviously be the concept of the Norman yoke, which is where the royal family comes from. The whole idea of it being a foreign influence on government, or the hierarchy of foreign influence. But I'm speaking from their perspective, because I'm an English Republican in a sense. But then again, the royal family is a major block to an imperial presidency, which is often a threat to liberty in the United States, or in other countries like with President Putin in Russia, where somebody might try to convert the presidency into kingship, in a sense, in a true kingship, whereas the royal family in this country, in Britain, is a figurehead, but they're a block on tyranny in a sense. So I'm not quite there, completely anti-monarchy in this sense, but I think it's a good thing that we be part of a Republican, social democratic EU, and it will also give us much more military power, which will be also something that I would have thought would be good for our security. Now, I cover a lot of topics in this talk, and this is really sort of a springboard for other videos, so please leave some comments and get a discussion going. Peace out. Bye.